Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Patel College of Global Sustainability, where Franklin and I and Rara Sue are working on the Insinkerator installation, and we are blessed that Insinkerator Corporation, thanks to their wonderful engineer Mike Kellerman, donated two Evolution Essential XTR Insinkerators with the sink top switch activation, which is going to be crucial for our project to keep our students safe, particularly as we'll be doing some of the grinding outdoors and in locations where it's not the usual installation with an insinkerator underneath the sink that's wired in. We're making portable insinkerators like we did at Mercy College with the Environmental Sustainability and Justice League and Visage Mercy back in the day when we were feeding our biodigesters on cafeteria waste. Now that movement has inspired a generation here at the University of South Florida. So with Rara Sue and Franklin and others, we have biodigesters for research at the USF Botanical Gardens. And that's where this insinkerator that was kindly donated to our program is going to be used. And then we have the Food Waste Coalition led by public health doctoral student Whitney Fung. And a whole team started with Lee Zhu and Philip Dixon from the Patel College and from the engineering department. It's an interdisciplinary project to take our cafeteria waste. We're going to be building 6 Solar Cities IBC tank biodigesters on campus and feeding them cafeteria waste. And of course, the grinder is the front end, the teeth and the jaws of the domestic dragon that makes it possible to transduce efficiently food waste into fuel and fertilizer. So when you get an insinkerator, and we advise that everybody do that, because whether you're composting traditionally aerobically or you're doing the magic transduction of the anaerobic domestic dragon, you'll want to grind up that food for best efficiency and so it doesn't clog pipes. So you're going to get an insinkerator, and mostly it's going to come and it will not have a wire attached. You'll have to do that yourself, and a lot of people spend ridiculously stupid sums of money hiring somebody to do this when you can do it yourself very easily. We want to show that. The wire that comes with it, or any wire that you use, it's a single phase alternating current wire, so normal 110 volt wire here in the United States. And there's a ground lug in here, and where's that screwdriver? You got the screwdriver handy?
I think I'll put it back.
Okay, let's get that
Oh, no,
screwdriver. There it is. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ground it using the green wire. Oops, that's not coming out.
Loose enough?
It's not loose enough.
Okay, now it's loose.
Okay, and what you should note is before you start putting this in, there is this this crimping thing here that goes down there, and you want to actually feed the wires through that. So unscrew the plate a little bit, the clamping plate, and slip the wires through and down, and then put that underneath and pull it up, because that is ultimately how we're going to hold this in place. Now, we don't have to screw this in just yet. Just know that it can be screwed in and know that you've got it facing the right direction. Then we should pull this out completely and then slip the ground through there. It's convenient that the ground lug, the insinkerator's made the ground bolt green and the ground wire green, so that's helpful. And we'll just screw that down. Okay. There we go. And make it, it doesn't have to be too tight, but you want it, anything electrical, you should have tight enough that the electrons don't make it jitter, so you lose contact. All right. Then you have these other wires, and one of them, my eyes aren't good enough, I don't have my glasses here. One of these is got a stripe on it, looks like that one. One of them is smooth. The manual may tell you which goes to which, but this is not DC power. This is not direct current, so it really doesn't matter. With alternating current, you don't really have a positive and a negative, right? You've got a neutral and you've got a hot wire, and usually the protocol is that the white wire is the hot wire and the neutral is the black and yellow striped one. But if we get them reversed, because it's alternating current, because it's going back and forth on both lines, it's not direct, it doesn't really matter. But I like to do things to code if we can. And does it say how to wire it?
No,
It does not.
didn't see.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the assumption, which is usually a safe assumption, that the smooth wire here, that
Well,
would be
that's the smooth
this one,
one,
right?
yeah.
That the smooth wire is the hot, and I'm going to take that and twist that around to make contact, and then it comes with the caps. So we'll twist that like so. And then the ground, or neutral, not ground, because that's the ground. The neutral is going to be put here, and again, twist the caps on there. All right. Okay. Now, let's just test it before we lock everything down. We'll plug it in here. It's working. Okay. So, see how it sort of turns the bucket? That's torque. Great torque. So be aware that this thing has torque as that rotor and the stator. The rotor spins in the stator, so when you're grinding and this is not fixed in the sink, you hold on to it so it doesn't spin away. Okay, with that done, we then will take this and we want to screw that in. And where's that plate? Because we're going to cover, there's a cover plate. There it is. And there should be a screw that was with that cover plate. Where be
Yeah,
that?
it's a black screw. It's right over there.
Okay. So, you know what I did wrong here is this is got twisted a bit, and it is not gonna.
Position right?
Yeah, it's not positioned right. So let's push that down
Someone
like
said
that.
white is neutral,
Hmm?
black, red, you.
Who says that? We have somebody online who's telling us that white is neutral and not hot, suggesting that we change them. I mean, it doesn't really matter with the AC.
Since it's alternating current.
It's what?
I said, since it's alternating current.
Yeah, it is alternating current. And does that person happen to know if which one the smooth is?
And
Because
no.
because in
He
these
said
there's
no need to change.
yeah, there's no need to change because these these are identical, right? So it's not one of these plugs where you would know which way to put it
Yeah.
in with the ground. And so with alternating current, it does not
He said
matter.
you just misspoke.
I misspoke, yes, sorry about that. Don't mean to misspeak, this is not my area. I just know after a lot of experience of installing Insinkerators that it doesn't matter which one we put where on alternating current, but that's good to know. But I always thought that the black was because in DC, which I do a lot for solar, we use black as the convention for negative and we use red as the convention for positive. So, yeah, so it can be confusing. But this is different. But thank you for that. And when in doubt, look it up. That would be the thing. But I think with the AC, we're not worried about that. I usually bring a voltmeter with me when I'm doing any DC work, working on solar or wind, and make sure that even if the wires are black or red, that I still test to make sure the direction of the current. I don't make the assumption that the color is necessarily labeled. And I've found in some cases, particularly when working with stuff from China, different color conventions are used, and that can throw things and you can burn stuff out if you're using DC stuff and you wire it the wrong way, if you do not observe polarity. But there is no polarity in this case. So that's pretty robust. Do it nice and tight there. You don't want to carry this and yank it up. This, by the way, is for when your Insinkerator gets jammed, as can happen if you're putting food waste in where people have thrown some plastic forks and knives in perhaps, or if there's paper clips or staples or metal, it'll jam, and then what'll happen is it'll overheat, and then this button here, which is the reset button for the thermal protection, so this will pop out, and then it won't work until it cools down, and then you have to press this button in, and if it presses in, then it resets, and then it's ready to go again, but it takes a while for it to cool off, so this button can't be pressed in you'll keep pressing it, and it won't press in, it'll be popped out, and then at some point it'll be cool enough and you'll press it in and it'll reset and it'll work again. Then you gotta get the jam out, and so you'll be using this and moving it back and forth to get the jam out, and then you can unplug it and reach your hand in and pull out anything that may have gotten stuck. And that's because the way that an Insinkerator or any equivalent rotary food grinder works, if you could help me by holding this thing down, take this off. I have to hold this to get it off. There we go. The way that they work is that they are basically, you can see inside here, it's like having a cylindrical cheese grater in there, and then there's these throw lugs that throw the food against the side where it grinds. It does not have blades. It is not a blender. So you can actually put your fingers down this far, putting food waste in, and not get hurt. I wouldn't put them all the way down to touch these throw lugs because they're pretty sharp and they'll nick you and they could do you some damage. But as long as you're not touching these throw lugs, there's no danger putting your hand in like this. But we recommend that you never put your hand deeper than having your palm down and your fingers. They're made so that the throw lugs are below where most people's knuckles bend. And then you also have the neck of it in the sink. So you're unlikely to ever get your fingers down that low. You certainly wouldn't want to shove them in like this. If you're going to do that to clean it out, unplug. Then you can get in here and pull stuff out. But don't think that there are blades that you'll cut yourself. There are these sharp throw lugs. You have to be very careful, but when you're in here and the thing's unplugged, you're not going to cut yourself pulling stuff out, okay? Because it's the real grinding is the grind ring around there that stays stationary, and then the rotary plate has these throw lugs that throws the food against the side and progressively grinds it down. See how that works, right? You can see when I put this Allen wrench in the bottom to unjam, you can see that, if you take these fingers away, you can see that it spins, right? Yeah. And that's how it grinds. So we've even made the company was really great and made a bicycle grinder for us that we have in Egypt and in Haiti, where we just had a differential gear with one of these sticking out of it. When you got on the bicycle, it spun that gear around and spun this, and then you didn't need the motor. So it was an electricity-free Insinkerator, and we were able to get up to 1,700 revolutions per minute to grind food by bicycling. So that's something to think about in the future, as long as you can make this thing spin. Okay, so that's what that is for us. It's crucial that that's kept. We may have to find a way to make a holder for it or something. Now, when you put this on the bucket, you see how we've drilled a hole in a bucket, just like we did at Mercy College, and we put the Insinkerator mount on there. Then you can take this in your car or your bicycle or whatever like this, but when you get there, you put it on. It seems a little tricky, but you have these lips, which are beveled, and they start low and then twist high. And so there's these clamps here, that one there, this one here, and this one here. These three clamps that need to slide on this and slide up to hold it. These rings here are for using a screwdriver to push it or to use your fingers to push it. And then the rubber just sits on top of here. So when you put this thing on, and it's just a little bit tricky at first just to adjust it, but you basically sort of seat it in here, and then you push on these, try to get all three lined up like this. Just a little tricky to get it started. Position it so that the rings are up at the top part where it's highest. So you see, if I take it off here, you see how it's higher here and lower there, higher here and lower there, higher here and lower there. Position it so that this clamp here, which is right where this grab ring is on the high part. So I lay it down like this, and then I can simply pull on these grab rings and slide it down like that by hand, and then it's done. And it won't fall off. And that means that when you get out there in the field and you're going to grind, you would hold the bucket. Let me see, is there another bucket over there?
Yeah.
I usually go with 3 buckets into the field, so I need 3. this is what I recommend. Give me the lid to that one.
Believe.
The lid. Okay. You can get the other bucket. There's another bucket over there.
So it gives it a balance.
Yeah. Now, you should make your own hand for this, but what we used to do basically is we would go to a place in the field, right? And we would get our food waste, get an extension cord. You need a long extension cord. Plug it in, and then we would put our food waste with water, always water. Put it in there and grind it. I don't have any water. I got some tea here. I still don't have enough water to do that. So it's not going to come out just yet. Anyway, you pour some water and then it's starting to come out. And you grind it into the bucket. And then when you're done, you take it to the next area. Oops, because I don't have water to wash it down, but there's the ground up food over there. All right, so it's gonna be a bit sloppy. Just keep it over there for now. There's another thing I want to show, which is that this model, we're really happy that the company sent us the Evolution Essential XTR because it has an air switch so that you don't have to worry about plugging it in and suddenly it turns on. And you don't have to be near it. So even if you're in a wet environment at the botanical gardens or wherever you bring it, you don't have to get near the electricity because this is an air switch that you turn on and turn off by blowing air, but you don't have to use your lips. You use this air button. And you hear that. So with that, you can plug this in to wherever there's power. Take the Insinkerator and plug up to 2 Insinkerators in here, or a light if you're working at night, and then turn it on and turn it off. Okay? And that means that you can stand well away from it. And of course, if you have an extension cord, and I would recommend you put an extension cord on the Insinkerator, and then put this out of any possible way where there's water where it can get ruined. So put this on an extension cord, run the extension cord to wherever you want to be, and then into this box, and then that plugs in, and do your grinding with that. Or as I can show you, see? So even if this thing got broken or lost, you can still use your breath to do it. All right, so that's Whitney and group from the Green Student Energy Fund. We have another equivalent Insinkerator that was gifted to your program, and this is how you'd set it up. So you don't need me, but if you don't understand our video, then grab Rarisu and Franklin, and they'll teach you how. All right. So that's it. So this is the thing. We call the Insinkerator a compost companion. So even if you were doing biodigestion as we are, you could keep this with you in the garden and grind up all your food waste and just dump it on the garden floor or put it in the compost bin. We know that if you grind up food waste, you can get really good soil in 3 to 6 days instead of 3 to 6 months with no turning whatsoever. And you can put everything in: fat, grease, meat, bones, whatever you want to. There's no restriction because the compost turns into soil so fast because it's that surface area to volume ratio thing. So everybody should have an Insinkerator, and whether you have a sink or not, look at what you can do with a bucket. It really works. And with 3 buckets, yeah, you have you can fill 1 bucket and then do the other one, put a lid on it, and then the rest's like this. As long as somebody's holding it, it's okay. And that becomes your grinder station. 3 buckets in an Insinkerator. Who knew? It's that easy to do food grinding. And we can eliminate what is the 3rd largest contributor to the greenhouse gases causing these horrible climate uncertainties that we're experiencing. So we want to eliminate food waste, and the best way to eliminate it is turn it into compost or biodigestate and biogas. All right, thanks.
I'll take it off.
Let's see, where's the off button?